Hi guys, it's Moss and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'd like to preface this video by saying I know almost nothing about economics. My plan is to do a little bit of research at a time and we can grow in our knowledge together. As you read in the title, today I'll be covering the bare bones of capitalism, socialism, and communism. Hopefully you'll get a pretty good base level of knowledge from this video. Without further ado, let's get into it. Capitalism. Capitalism is when trade and industry are controlled by private owners for profit rather than by the state. Supply and demand set the prices for anything you would like to buy under capitalism. In true capitalism, the government has absolutely zero control over the economy, but most countries have at least some socialist policies, such as healthcare and welfare. Capitalists believe that the free market can regulate itself. There's little to no safety net and everything is up to the individual. Pros and cons. Here are the pros of capitalism. People are incentivized to be innovative by the reward of money. Firms have incentive to be efficient. Consumers have free choice in all products. It prevents a large government. Now here are the cons. Firms can gain monopolies and monopsonies. A monopoly is the exclusive possession of supply or trade in a commodity of service, such as Nestle. A monopsony is when there is exclusive purchasing of labor or supply. For example, there's only one employer in a town. Consumers can be exploited. Capitalism causes a large amount of environmental damage. There are large wealth inequalities under capitalism. Capitalism is very prone to boom and bust. Boom and bust is when there is a term of great prosperity followed by an abrupt economic downturn. Socialism. Socialism is when the means of production, distribution, and exchange are controlled by the people. There are many different forms of socialism. These forms depend on the role of the free market, how means of production are controlled, how workers are managed, and the government's role in the economy. The main goal is wealth distribution. In many types of socialism, there is still rich and poor, but there is much larger middle class. Socialists would like to bridge the class gap. Socialism also provides many different safety nets for the people of their country. Pros and cons. Here are the pros of socialism. A more equal society, a reduction of poverty, universal healthcare. Socialism promotes the common good rather than selfishness. There are environmental protections put in place. It limits monopolies and monopsonies. The cons of socialism are this. In cases where money exists, there are higher taxes and welfare state, which discourage the incentive to work. A welfare state is when the government protects everyone, especially the needy. There's a risk of entrepreneurs moving to tax havens abroad. A tax haven is a country with low taxation for foreigners. Excessive regulation can lead to less employment or structural unemployment. Structural unemployment is when there's a mismatch between the skills that workers can provide and the skills that workers need to have. Communism. Now, communism is an ideology that is under the umbrella of socialism. Communism advocates for class warfare and an eventual classless, moneyless system. There's a command or planned economy, and the people own the means of production. A command economy is when the economy is entirely controlled by the government. Communism is the next step after socialism, in which the government relinquishes control and allows the people to rule themselves. However, we have not seen true communism in the history of the world because the government does not relinquish control. It's important to note that under communism, private property is non-existent. Private property is different from personal property. Private property is property that generates profit rather than just your stuff, which is personal property. Conclusion. In conclusion, I'm thinking that I'm leaning a little bit more towards some form of socialism, and of course, I'm not quite sure what form that is because, as I mentioned earlier, I don't know that much, and I'm sure if you're watching this, you probably don't know that much either, and we're learning together. But I do believe that, from what I've learned, capitalism is exploitative, and I'm kind of on the fence about communism because we've never seen true communism, so I'm not sure if it's possible. feel free to object to that in the comment. I'm very open to what other people have to say. Our world is kind of falling apart, and I think that's largely due to capitalism, like ever-growing racial class divides, the environment. The wealth gap is widening at an alarming rate. And if I made any mistakes or I was misinformed at any point in this video, feel free to comment below, and I will obviously read that and do more research into it. So thank you for watching. Thank you for getting this far. I hope you enjoyed my first video. If you did like it, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. Have a great day, everybody.